This amendment is amendment number 26 to the Highway Transportation Bill. It's an amendment to prohibit federal financial assistance for any project or activity to establish, maintain, operate, or otherwise support streetcar service. It does not apply to existing contracts. The intent of the bill is not to bash streetcars. It is to ensure that the resources are husbanded towards highways, bridges, and critical infrastructure. Streetcars, also known as trolleys, are mass transit vehicles that operate on rail lines embedded in normal roadways, often drawing electrical power from overhead structures. From 2009 to 2014, the Department of Transportation awarded $500 million for streetcar projects in 14 cities throughout the country. Streetcars are highly impractical from a public transit standpoint. Like a bus, but unlike a train, a streetcar's speed is constrained by the speed of the traffic around them. But unlike a bus, they are bound on their tracks. If anything blocks the tracks, such as an accident or a construction project, the entire line will shut down. Streetcars are costly to build and operate, and they require extensive infrastructure, including tracks and overhead power that is not required for buses. Per passenger, per mile, they are also consistently more costly to operate than buses, according to a 2013 Journal of Public Transportation study. Yet, the Congressional Research Institute can find no clear evidence that streetcars increase transit ridership. Streetcar corridors that saw economic growth often benefited from other substantial subsidies. It is unclear if streetcars contributed to any of this growth. The main argument for streetcars is their psychological appeal, which is understandable, but it's very subjective and depends on the sentiments of tourists and the local community. They are more comparable to water taxis or Ferris wheels than buses or light rail. The Department of Transportation is not in a good position to judge how tourists or locals will feel about a streetcar project in a particular city. The agency therefore lacks the insight to predict a success of a project. Most streetcar funding has come from the Transportation Investment Generating Economic Recovery, or the TIGER grant program. TIGER is an extremely competitive program, so competitive that there were 627 eligible applications requested, totaling $10 billion in request, which is 20 times the available funding. But a recent rule change makes it expected that it will be easier for streetcars to receive funding from the Capital Investment Grant Program, also known as New Starts and Small Starts programs. President Obama's administration requested $3.2 billion for the SIG program in 2016, including $75 million for streetcar projects. At least 6 more projects are under development. Any further grant awards of streetcars will divert scarce federal funding from other high-priority transportation projects. Bus rapid transit projects, for example, attract riders with higher quality stations and buses, traffic lanes fully or partially dedicated to buses, and more reliable and frequent service. Unlike for streetcars, there is an objective evidence that the bus rapid transit tends to increase transit ridership and decrease trip time, according to the Government Accountability Office. Streetcar projects, while maybe having some emotional appeal, are expensive, uncertain gambles that depend on subjective local and tourist sentiments more than objective facts. Unless anyone thinks that my district or community is anti-streetcar, in the capital city of Oklahoma City, they are not. They just approved a major project of $129 million for downtown streetcars. But in true Oklahoma tradition, it was not funded with any federal assistance. And this, Mr. Chairman and members, is the way that we need to approach streetcars. We have way too many projects and way too many things that we need to dedicate the priorities of our transportation dollars, and this would be a good way to save $500 million. And with that, I yield back my time.